Hello, this is Melanie Guralnik, and for the next hour I'll be reading from the July 21st issue of the Toronto Sun on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. The first story is Trump Owns the Trade War. Carney Owns His Response by Brian Lilly. It's unbelievable how far the Canada-US relationship has deteriorated, and it's hard to see it recovering. The anti-Canadian rhetoric and attitudes coming out of Washington are likely at their lowest point since calls to take over parts of British Columbia were expressed in the slogan 54-40 or fight. Canada, which fought alongside the Americans in Afghanistan, Korea, and 2 world wars, and helped rescue 8 American hostages from Iran, is now viewed as a villain. On Monday, President Donald Trump imposed even more tariffs on Canada, claiming we are treating American goods and companies unfairly. In some instances, he has a point. On most of this, though, he is way off base. Trump's claims don't always match reality. In his declaration on new auto tariffs, Trump states that Canada has, quote, an unreasonable and unequal imposition on U.S. auto and auto parts exports. He's referring, of course, to the 25% tariff that Canada imposes on the American components of finished automobiles imported into Canada. That tariff exists only because Trump imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian automobiles and auto parts. We have no similar tariff imposed on American auto parts. Trump claims Canada is discriminating against U.S. automakers because imports from Mexico, Japan, Korea, and Germany are rising while American vehicles face tariffs. Well, those countries haven't slapped us with 25% tariffs lately. Maybe Canadians are also choosing to buy cars from those countries in response to Trump's actions and rhetoric toward Canada. On his new tariff action tied to the booze ban imposed by 8 of the 10 provinces, Trump is right. It is a discriminatory action against American companies. As Ontario Premier Doug Ford rightly points out, the American booze ban exists only because of Trump's tariffs. We can debate whether the booze ban is a good idea, but we can't debate its origin. Missed opportunities at negotiating table. As for dairy, this has long been an issue for the Americans under every administration. In fact, the Biden administration took Canada to a trade panel twice over dairy quota allocation. They don't want to scrap supply management, nor are they trying to flood Canada with hormone-treated milk. They simply believe we don't treat them fairly. Had Canada acted more strategically, Carney could have used the booze ban and dairy dispute to secure a better trade deal and avoid this latest round of tariffs. Yes, Trump is irrational, but Carney promised Canadians that he knew how to deal with the American president. Quote, I know the president. I've dealt with the president in the past in my previous roles when he was in his first term. And I know how to negotiate, Carney boasted last year. Between the Gordie Howe Bridge deal and rising tariffs, Carney has yet to demonstrate the negotiating skills he promised voters. On the bridge, Canada had few cards to play. On securing a better trade deal, we have many. But Carney has decided that playing politics is better for him and his party than securing an agreement. Escalating rhetoric is hurting Canadians. The anti-Canadian rhetoric coming out of Washington is at a fever pitch. But so too is the anti-American rhetoric led by politicians such as Carney and provincial premiers like Ford and BC's David Eby. Rather than escalating the rhetoric, Carney should have presented an offer to Washington that they couldn't refuse. Changes to dairy quota allocation, removal of the booze ban, preferential access to critical minerals and energy, and increased defense spending focused on the Arctic. In exchange, Carney should have sought the removal of tariffs and guaranteed access to the American market. We are increasing defense spending, but Carney has made clear he prefers buying from almost anyone but the Americans. He has also openly pursued closer ties with Europe while sidelining the United States. The question is no longer whether Donald Trump is acting unfairly. He is. The question is why Mark Carney, after promising Canadians that he knew how to handle Trump, has failed to stop the situation from getting worse. Tariffs are increasing. The rhetoric is escalating. The relationship is deteriorating. And ordinary Canadians are left carrying the cost. Trump owns the trade war. Carney owns his response to it. There is a picture from the 2026 World Cup football tournament, that final match where Trump gave the trophy to the Spanish team. And Trump is standing there speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney, and President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico is between them. And she's standing there smiling, looking out into the crowd. And Trump is looking at Mark Carney talking, and yeah, he doesn't look happy, but maybe he is. Photo courtesy of Mandel Nyan via AFP via Getty Images. That story was Trump owns the trade war. Carney owns his response. By Brian Lilly. The next story is Journey rocker blasts, quote, annoying, bitter Bruce Springsteen. Shut up. By Mark Danielle. Longtime Journey keyboardist and rhythm guitarist Jonathan Cain has branded Bruce Springsteen an, quote, annoying, bitter old man after the Born to Run rockers' frequent criticisms of U.S. President Donald Trump. Speaking during an appearance on the Complete Disaster Network, Cain, 76, lashed out at Springsteen for consistently sharing his political views with fans. During his most recent tour, Springsteen, also 76, said America, quote, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, racist, reckless, and treasonous administration. Quote, I used to be a Democrat back in the old days, but I just couldn't go there anymore, you know? Cain said. I thought Obama, maybe, but then I saw where he was going, and I was like, okay, we can't have this anymore. So I'm a diehard conservative, and guys like Bruce Springsteen should shut up. You know, really, honestly, shut up, Bruce, you know? Him and, who's the other one? Oh yeah, Robert De Niro. I mean, who cares, you guys? Do your art. I try to keep politics out of my music. Cain is married to Pastor Paula White Cain, an advisor to Trump, but he insisted that he avoids talking about politics with Journey fans as the band continues its Final Frontier tour. Quote, now people say, well, you're a Christian and you're conservative. And I'm like, so what? I don't preach it on stage, he said. I don't spend 10 minutes talking about it. That's who I am. I don't think it's cool to have celebrities going there. And Bruce, I mean, what the heck? I used to be like him, and now he's just annoying. He's an annoying, bitter old man. I mean, stop it. Really? You were born in the USA, weren't you, dude? So act like it. But even that song, if you look at the lyrics, I mean, it's kind of a diss toward our country. Despite his insistence that musicians should keep quiet about politics, Cain's latest single, called Winds of Freedom, is inspired by right-wing evangelical influencer Eric Metaxas, and includes the lyrics, which are, quote, with our fate uncertain, across boundless seas, to distant shores, we'd fight to make a stand. But Cain says the song reflects his love for America. Quote, I'm releasing this patriotic song because I'm a die-hard patriot. Like Kid Rock, who's my friend, Kane said. We're a couple of patriots. We love our flag and we love our nation. And we grew up that way. If anybody's got a problem with me, America, and Jesus, then bring it. Springsteen says he's a patriot for standing up to Trump. Springsteen recently wrapped up his Land of Hope and Dreams tour, during which he targeted Trump and the White House. Earlier this year, the legendary rocker released an anti-ICE protest song called The Streets of Minneapolis, after the deadly shootings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good by federal immigration officers. In the lead-up to the 2024 election, Springsteen lambasted Trump, and he continued the criticism of the president's administration during his 2025 tour of Europe. After Springsteen called Trump unfit for office and unaware of what it means to be deeply American, the president fired back in a Truth Social post in which he called the 20-time Grammy winner a pushy, obnoxious jerk, all caps, and a dried-out prune. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer said his criticism of Trump comes from a place of patriotism, and he welcomes all sorts of fans to his shows. Quote, if I'm playing the stadium up here in Jersey, and there's 50,000 people there, I don't think they're all Democrats, he said in the recent PBS special called Bruce Springsteen, Finding America in Song. I think we're in a dangerous moment. We have an administration that, in my humble opinion, is a ship of fools. It's a dangerous time in America. But he believes in, quote, critical patriotism, Springsteen said earlier this month. I believe that's the definition of a patriot. You know, that you love your country so much that you're willing to look at it clearly, recognize its faults, encourage it to be a better place, and believe that you carry in your heart the country that is waiting. Trump hasn't let up in his harsh disparagement of Bruce. Quote, bad and very boring singer Bruce Springsteen, who looks like a dried-up prune who has suffered greatly from the work of a really bad plastic surgeon, has long had a terrible and incurable case of Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. Trump wrote on social media back in April, quote, the guy is a total loser who spews hate against a president who won a landslide election, including the popular vote, all 7 swing states, and 86% of the counties across America. There is a picture of Jonathan Cain as he's performing with Journey on July 18th, 2015, so it's quite a while ago. He is at a piano and he's wearing a black leather jacket. He looks a bit like Neil Diamond. He's got that brown hair that's kind of longish on top, and he is playing the keyboards with his right hand, and then he's making a peace sign up in the air with his left hand. Photo credit goes to David Bloom via Postmedia Network. That story was Journey Rocker Blast's Annoying, Bitter Bruce Springsteen. Shut up, by Mark Danielle. The next story is Conservatives Angry with Private Citizen Justin Trudeau, Miss PM Justin Trudeau, by Warren Kinsella. See that? Say his name, and lots of people get upset. Happens every time. I saw the former Prime Minister this week in Ottawa. Or at least, I think I did. I was passing through the capital and decided to stop in at my favorite Chinese place for lunch. Place was packed. Long wait. No time to wait. So I decided to make use of the washroom before hitting the road again. As I did so, I passed a table where a fellow, who looked very much like Justin Trudeau, was seated with a couple of young people. He was wearing sunglasses and looking at a slip of paper. I used the facilities and left. Did what everyone else in the restaurant was doing. let him be. 10 minutes later, back on the 417, I completely forgot about Justin Trudeau. Until now, that is, when I sat down to write this opinion column. So, here's my opinion. He's gone. Get over it, Canada. At the end of Trudeau's tenure, lots of people wanted him gone. I was one of the ones who predicted he'd resign before facing Pierre Poilievre on the campaign trail. Several people at this newspaper bet that I was wrong. They lost the bet. Trudeau quit. Result? Lots of people became less angry at Trudeau and the Liberal Party. They became a lot less enthusiastic about Poilievre, too. Romance with Katy Perry inflames critics. But not everyone stopped being angry at Trudeau. We saw it again a few days ago, when Trudeau hopped, literally, onto everyone's screens. His girlfriend Katy Perry posted a promo video for her new single, Watch It Burn. In the background, alongside a number of other people, was Canada's 23rd Prime Minister, hopping around like, checks notes, a bunny. He was on screen for 3 seconds. People went crazy, and not in a good way. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Toronto Sun on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Author Gad Saad, who reportedly lives in Michigan now, solemnly declared that it's, quote, a forever stain on Canada that such an individual held power for 10 years. Kevin O'Leary, who ran for leader of the Conservative Party from Boston, posted sarcastically, quote, what is wrong with bouncing around like a bunny rabbit after taking hashtag Canada, a hashtag G7 counties, I think they mean countries, hashtag GDP to the bottom of the hashtag G20 measured by every economic metric? How? Question mark. A complete lack of executional skills. That is incredibly hard to do, but Justin Trudeau did it in just 10 years. A fantastic achievement. Let's dance. The conservative third-party group, Canada Proud, wrote, quote, it's good to see that Trudeau finally has a job he's qualified for. Big Cheese X and podcast commentator Mario Nawfal was equally caustic. Quote, former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is now bouncing around in the background of girlfriend Katy Perry's new music video like an 18-year-old backup dancer. From running a G7 country to B-roll. And so on and so on. Conservatives were critical of Trudeau, which is not surprising, because he was a 3-time winning Liberal and they don't like losing, particularly to Liberals. Fine. Except this, which we present in the form of a news flash. All caps. Breaking, : Justin Trudeau isn't Prime Minister anymore. He hasn't been PM for more than a year, in fact. It was in all the papers. Trudeau's a private citizen now. If he wants to jump around in the background of his hot girlfriend's video like an overcaffeinated adolescent, he's allowed to do that. If he wants to go to a World Cup match because of what he called, quote, supportive boyfriend duties, he can do that too. If he says he wants Perry to cheer for the Habs, he can do that. And she should, by the way. Here's why people are still mad at Trudeau. We wanted Justin to leave, and so he did. He left the building, folks. But still, people get mad at him, which raises the question, why? My personal theory. Conservatives really, really miss him. When they still had Trudeau to kick around, power was just one election away. Chauffeured limousines, expense accounts, Challenger jet flights, all of that and more was to be theirs. And then Trudeau quit. Trump, Carney, election. You know the rest. Trudeau is unlikely to ever again be on a ballot. You will therefore need to find a new human piñata to knock around, conservatives. Oh, and one more thing. When I saw him at that Ottawa restaurant, Justin Trudeau was closely examining the check because he was clearly getting ready to pay out of his own pocket. Good start, Justin. Private Life agrees with you. There is a still photo from that music video where Justin Trudeau is jumping around. But in his defense, everyone in the background was doing it, and it's to music. It's all in good fun. Whatever these people are saying, I don't know. Anyway, in this picture, Katy Perry is wearing a little jumper that's polka dotted, and it has a seahorse on the front. And she's got her arms out, and her head is thrown back over her shoulder, wide open, laughing and smiling, and looking at Justin Trudeau, who's in like a green t-shirt and khaki pants, and he's like jumping, and he's looking at her with a smile. It's sweet. Let's see. That is a screen grab from Katy Perry, her video. Okay, so that story was conservatives angry with private citizen Justin Trudeau, and they miss PM Justin Trudeau, by Warren Kinsella. The next story is driver accused of killing boxer Hannah Rapp is known menace behind the wheel, by Danette Wilford. The driver who allegedly intentionally struck and killed boxing star Hannah Rapp boasts a lengthy rap sheet that dates back to 2012 and includes an arrest for hit and run. Charles Eric Medina, 31, was arrested on manslaughter charges for hitting the 26-year-old rising star in the featherweight world over the weekend. Rapp and her boyfriend, Will Polalis, were cycling near the community of Navasota, Texas, where Medina is from, on Saturday morning when police said Medina sped dangerously close to the pair, which called Polalis to throw his hands up and yell toward the vehicle, according to an affidavit obtained by KBTX. Medina then slammed on the brakes, skidded to a stop, and reversed into Rapp, who knocked her head into the vehicle's rear window before hitting the ground, according to the report. First responders provided medical care, the Brazos County Sheriff's Office said, before Rapp was taken to hospital where she died of her injuries. Medina's lengthy rap sheet. Medina had previously been arrested 13 times in Brazos County alone since 2012, according to jail records obtained by the outlet. He was arrested for reckless driving and evading arrest with a vehicle in 2012 and pleaded guilty to both cases, ESPN reported. Medina was arrested again for reckless driving in 2014 and for a hit and run in 2020. His most recent arrests were for discharging a firearm in 2024 and evading arrest last year, according to the outlet. The two most recent court cases remain open, and it is unclear if the older cases were resolved, the report says. What the accused told police. Medina is currently being held on a U.S. $250,000 bond on manslaughter charges for the fatal strike of Rapp. The accused killer was also ordered to have a psychological evaluation. According to the affidavit, Medina claimed he reversed slowly, quote, 15 miles per hour to talk to Polalis. But investigators determined that the physical evidence at the scene, the skid marks, the severity of the vehicle damage, and Rapp's final resting position indicated instead a heavy impact. Rapp was a star in the making. Rapp was a star athlete at Purdue University before she transitioned to boxing less than 5 years ago. She left Indiana and moved to Texas in 2024 and worked as a fire and life safety inspector at Texas A&M while establishing her boxing career out of Byron, Texas. A GoFundMe has been launched to help with funeral expenses, medical bills, travel, and other unexpected costs. Quote, Hannah was resilient. She was brave and insightful, always pushing others to do their best. The fundraising page reads, "She loved her family so incredibly much, and moved from Indiana to Texas meant distance for her friends and family. Hannah was an inspiration. Even on her hardest days, she continued to bring love, laughter, and light into the lives of others." The message added, "She will be deeply missed, forever loved, and never forgotten." As Hannah would say, "Commit to the bit." And sweet friend, we are committed to fighting for you. There is a picture of Hannah Rapp. She is inside of a car and she's wearing a burgundy Texas A&M hat and a matching burgundy shirt. She's got, I think they're green eyes and light brown hair. She's doing a thumbs up and she's got a really great smile. Photo courtesy of GoFundMe. That story was "Driver Accused of Killing Boxer Hannah Rapp is Known Menace Behind the Wheel" by Danette Wilford. The next story is Marineland's Beluga Whales Rescue Begins by Brian Toey. The first 6 of Marineland's beluga whales, which had for a time been living under the threat of euthanasia at the defunct Niagara Falls, Ontario theme park, are being moved to aquariums in the U.S. and Spain. 6 belugas were moved on Monday from the park, part of a long-awaited rescue plan that could see the whales being relocated to American and Spanish aquariums over the next few weeks. Media footage showed Sierra the beluga being hoisted in a sling attached to a crane out of her habitat and into a shipping container on a transport truck. The start of relocation efforts for all 30 whales. Canadian Fisheries Minister Joanne Thompson confirmed the relocation efforts in a statement. Quote, "The first wave of the rescue mission at Marineland is underway," it said. "The rescue operation is being led by a consortium of accredited aquariums, and they will be sharing details as it progresses." Big belugas, long process. Belugas can grow up to 14 feet or more and can weigh up to 3,500 pounds. So the operation is a complicated one. The job requires special hoists, cranes, transport containers and trucks, and more than 24 workers. Niagara Regional Police confirmed it was assisting with traffic control as the whales were being flown out of Pearson International Airport. Marineland closed following the deaths of owners John and Marie Holler in 2024. Staff there continued to care for the whales, but dwindling funds to do so became an increasing concern. The whales were facing euthanasia when the park's request to export them to China's Chimelong Ocean Kingdom, a park that animal rights activists claim houses animals in subpar conditions, was denied. But last month, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada backed a plan that would see all the whales split up and sent to aquariums in the U.S. and Spain. Earlier this month, aquariums accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, or AZA, said the U.S.'s National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration greenlit an emergency rescue for several of Marineland's whales. Final sign-offs still need to be made, but once the whales are approved to move, aquarium experts will accompany the animals to their new homes, where they will be met with diverse seafood to meet their nutritional needs. High-quality environments with guaranteed water quality and on-site medical care should they require it at any time, the statement said. Marineland's Dark Legacy. Marineland may be famous for its catchy television jingle, but animal rights groups have condemned the park for decades, accusing it of animal cruelty, poor water quality, and mistreatment or negligence, or both, of its marine mammals. 20 whales, 19 belugas, and 1 killer whale have died at Marineland since 2019, along with the dolphin, penguins, and sea lions. Dolphins, seals, bears, elk, and deer still reportedly remain at the park. Nice whales here. Shame if something were to happen. Animal rights group Animal Justice particularly condemned Marineland, accusing the park of threatening to euthanize the whales unless it received tens of millions in taxpayer bailout money to care for them, in what would be tantamount to a shakedown of the government. Quote, Marineland made the business decision to purchase and breed whales and dolphins for decades, profiting off of over 1 million visitors each year, the group said in an April statement. Marineland has ample resources and sits on what is likely one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in Canada, estimated to be worth upwards of $500 million. There is a picture of a dolphin swimming in a tank, so it would be where people could view them behind glass, and it's got like a smile on its face as it's looking at people, and then behind it you could see a beluga whale. Photo credit goes to Dennis Cahill via Postmedia File Photo. That story was Marineland's Beluga Whales Rescue Begins by Brian Toey. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Toronto Sun on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. The next story is former porn star wins $1 million FIFA World Cup final bet. Drake curse lives on by Dan Balicki. Mia Khalifa certainly got lucky this past weekend. The retired adult film star cashed in on a massive bet on the FIFA World Cup final, with Spain's victory netting her hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit. Khalifa, whose real name is Sarah Jo Chamoun, shared on Instagram that she had wagered $1 million on Spain to defeat Argentina in the final, showing off the confirmation of the win while she attended that match at New York, New Jersey Stadium. Believed and won big, so proud of my home country Spain. Not a drop of Spanish blood in me, she wrote on Instagram, alongside several pictures from inside the stadium. The win earned her $650,000 profit, as Spain was the favorite heading into the match. Khalifa has been a presence throughout the tournament and was spotted in attendance during the U.S. team's opening match against Paraguay last month. She also attended Spain's round of 32 match against Austria, sharing several pics and videos from the match in Los Angeles. On Sunday, she was seen dancing in the stands while wearing a Lamine Yamal Barcelona jersey and black spandex shorts. How much did Drake lose? On the other hand, Canadian rapper Drake had his gambling curse live on. Big time. Drake posted his bet slip on Instagram on Sunday, revealing that he had wagered $1.5 million worth of cryptocurrency on Argentina to win the match, which would have paid out more than $5 million. However, Drake's bet fell short in more ways than one. While Argentina not only didn't win the match, his bet only applied to regulation time, 90 minutes plus stoppage time, meaning that if Lionel Messi and company had come through in extra time, it wouldn't have mattered for the Hotline Bling hitmaker. The loss was just the latest in a long string of bad luck for the rapper, which has seen the Toronto native lose millions on sports gambling. What are some other examples of the Drake curse? Drake, who has partnered with betting site Stake, has shared many of his large bets over the years, with many results in six-figure losses. It has gotten to a point where a website was launched to track how much he has lost gambling on sports. According to DrakeCurse.com, the rapper is currently down $3,055,072 all time from his public sports bets, and has won just 32 out of the 88 bets that he has publicly posted. With 56 losses, that gives Drake a winning percentage of just 36.4%. He has been particularly awful at sports gambling in 2026, having lost $3,269,000 from 5 bets worth at a total of $4,270,001. He also has wagered a total of more than $40.22 million over his 88 public bets, returning $37.17 million. There is a picture of Mia Khalifa, the adult porn star who is retired now. It's a picture of her in the back of a car. She's wearing an off-the-shoulder shirt and shorts. She's got flip-flops on, several ankle bracelets that have charms on them, and she's covering her mouth laughing. She's got brown hair, it's kind of pulled up in a messy bun, and she's holding her phone in the other hand. She has really beautiful legs and really nice tan skin. Photo courtesy of Mia Khalifa via Instagram. That story was former porn star wins $1 million FIFA World Cup final bet. Drake curse lives on, by Dan Balicki. The next story is Ontario Gym stands by staffer after Sikh man ordered to leave for wearing kirpan, by Brian Passafiume. Ottawa. The response to a video of a popular Sikh fitness influencer being kicked out of a Windsor gym for wearing his kirpan while working out has not cost the employee her job. In a statement, Good Life Fitness confirmed to the Toronto Sun that the employee who challenged TikToker Gurpratap Singh Khalsa's decision to wear his ceremonial dagger at the gym wasn't fired, as some social media chatter had suggested. In the incident widely shared online, Khalsa, who has a significant following on TikTok as, quote, Dream Body Gurp, G-U-R-P, for his videos on his faith and fitness, is seen being approached by staff at the Good Life Fitness. The female employee expressed concern over the safety implications of Khalsa wearing a kirpan, a ceremonial knife worn by initiated and observant Sikhs as an article of faith, while working out. What is said in the video? Quote, You're scared that I'm going to take this religious symbol and kill somebody, Khalsa says in the recording he made of the incident. What I'm saying is that you have a weapon on your person. A member has brought it to my attention. And for the safety of me and everybody else in the gym, I'm asking you to leave. The female staff member is heard telling him. We're a private gym and we're allowed to deny access, and you're not allowed to have this. Khalsa then challenges the employee for not noticing his kirpan when he walked in, demanding to know what she's being paid to do. They don't pay you to look around? They don't pay you to be aware? He says to her. You just let any person into the gym? The employee stood her ground. You're also harassing me right now, the employee says, which Khalsa quickly denies. I'm getting kicked out of the gym because these guys are apparently saying that this kirpan is dangerous, Khalsa says to his camera. What Good Life Fitness said about the interaction. Despite rumors online that the employee who confronted Khalsa lost her job over the exchange, a statement from the company on Monday confirmed those claims were false. Quote, No one has been, nor will be, terminated as a result of the interaction in our Windsor club, read the statement from Good Life VP Tracy Matthews to The Sun. Quote, Information to the contrary is false. We continue to support our employees and the entire Good Life community. Good Life Fitness, the statement continued, provides a, quote, welcoming and safe community, and we will continue to strive to maintain that environment for everyone who comes to our clubs. As for Khalsa's decision to wear a kirpan while working out, the club said, quote, The Ontario government is responsible for drafting and passing human rights laws for the province, which businesses like Good Life are required to follow. and that the Ontario Human Rights Commission provides guidance regarding the interpretation and application of human rights laws in Ontario, including topics like this. There is a picture of Gurpratap Singh Khalsa, and he's in that gym. He is wearing his ceremonial kirpan, which I can see why it'd be a little scary. It's around his waist, and it's not small. I would say it's at least about a foot long in its sheath, which is black. And the guy doesn't have a shirt on. He is really ripped. And he's got a beard, and his hair is up in like a purple turban. I forget the name of that, but he's a real handsome guy. And he's also pulling down on some machine to make his arms bigger. Photo courtesy of TikTok. That story was Ontario Gym stands by staffer after Sikh man ordered to leave for wearing kirpan, by Brian Pacifiume. The next story is Chicago Cubs fan slapped for remaining seated during anthem in viral video, sparking debate, by Dan Balicki. A pre-game incident in the stands at Wrigley Field went viral on social media, leading to a heated debate over appropriate anthem behavior after one fan smacked another. The video posted on X showed two fans in a section behind home plate as the Star-Spangled Banner was being performed prior to Sunday's game between the Chicago Cubs and Minnesota Twins. While almost the entirety of the section was on their feet for the U.S. national anthem, one fan remained seated, which didn't sit well with the man behind him. The older man, who was wearing a gray Cubs jersey, yelled, "Get up!" at the younger fan before leaning over to speak to him. The younger fan, wearing a white shirt with a black and red design on the back, appeared to shake his head and say no, before things escalated. The older Cubs fan reached back and then smacked him across the back of the head with his left hand. The younger fan then stood up as other fans in the area took notice. Quote, "Thank you. Thank you so much, young man," the older man appeared to say after the young man followed his demand. Who was right and who was wrong? Quote, "Guy at a Chicago Cubs game refuses to stand during the national anthem!" Exclamation mark. X-user at @libornormal wrote alongside the video posted. The guy behind him gets pissed and does this shit. The user also wrote, "Stand up or get smacked," over the clip. Since being posted on Monday morning, the video has racked up more than 9.4 million views, with 59,000 likes and thousands of replies. Many commenters backed the older fan, calling the younger one very disrespectful. "Good to see," one user replied. "Give this man a medal," another commented. "Should have made him sing too, just for trying to pull that," a third user joked. Will charges be filed? But while most users sided with the older man, many others felt that it wasn't the younger fan's right to remain seated, and also noted that the incident could be considered assault. "He committed assault on camera. Stupid thing to do in this day and age," one user replied. "He has the right to sit down. That's his prerogative. I would have slapped the shit out of that old man for putting his hands on me," another wrote. "As a former vet, we fought for the right to sit or stand. Leave him alone, as long as he's not impeding on anyone else's right," a third user commented. TMZ reported that Chicago police have been made aware of the incident, but no police report has been filed as of Monday evening. So there was a link to watch the video on X, and so you could see the guy. So whoever's filming this is like 2 rows behind where this happened. And the older guy, you can see him bending over to the young guy who's sitting down. He's like a young, skinny guy with a white t-shirt. And when the guy doesn't stand up, the older guy smacks him open-handed hard on the head. And the immediate result was the young kid just got up. I think he was just totally shocked. And there were two men a few rows further down that saw this happen, and they were just like, almost kind of like, what in the world? Like, almost laughing. And then the person filming kind of turns the camera to look at the field and then back again. And those two other men that watched, they were leaning over to shake the young boy's hand. I really couldn't interpret why. The link to that is credit to Brandon, who is at LibOrNormal on X. That story was Chicago Cubs fan slapped for remaining seated during anthem in viral video, sparking debate, by Dan Balicki. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Toronto Sun on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. The next story is Morgan Wallen concertgoer accused of peeing on family during Baltimore show. Quote, "Feel something on my leg," by Danette Wilford. A man attending a recent Morgan Wallen show has been accused of urinating on a family mid-concert. Tony Grevelding was at the Country Stars concert at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore on Saturday when the disgusting incident allegedly took place. Grevelding alleged in an interview with WBFF that the urinator had been talking loudly on his phone and bumped into him several times before the purported incident. Quote, "I literally feel something on my leg. My wife feels something on her leg," he said. "My wife says, whatever that gentleman is doing is all over my leg." Grevelding said he looked back at the man and claimed to see his genitalia hanging completely out. "And he's urinating all over the back of my seat, my wife's leg, my niece, and he's looking at me saying, 'It's good, bro. It's good.'" At that point, I kind of grabbed him, pushed him back, and said, "What the F are you doing? You're pissing all over me," Grevelding added. Demanding justice. Grevelding, who was visiting Maryland from upstate New York, recounted the incident to TMZ and took to Facebook to share videos of him recounting the gross turn of events and reporting the disgusting incident to authorities at the venue. He claimed they told him they couldn't arrest the man because they did not witness what happened. Grevelding has since outed the man allegedly responsible for splashing his family, calling out a North Carolina man on Facebook. Quote, "Make him famous for pissing on a child, my niece, at a Morgan Wallen concert," he wrote. The Maryland Transportation Authority Police, however, told TMZ they are aware of this incident and the video that is on social media. They added, "There is an active and open criminal investigation into this matter." Wallen is currently in the middle of his U.S.-only Still the Problem tour. Other bad bathroom-related behavior. Pee-gate at the Wallen concert comes after singer-songwriter Noah Kahan pleaded with Toronto concertgoers, asking them to promise not to poop their pants during his show last month. His request came after viral video showed what appeared to be pieces of poop smeared on the floor from his Philadelphia Great Divide tour stop at Citizens Bank Park last month. Quote, "We're going to do some therapy type thing," Kahan told the 50,000 in attendance at Rogers Stadium. "Basically, repeat after me, okay? I solemnly swear I will not shit my pants. And if I do, I won't take it from my pants and put it on the floor." There is only one picture in this article, which is of Morgan Wallen performing on stage, and he's wearing a ball cap that says, I don't know, CHENE, and there's like a black bird on it, and he's wearing a brown plaid shirt. He's got a mustache and brown hair that's a little bit long in the back, and he's wearing a microphone. Photo courtesy of Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis by Instagram. That was Morgan Wallen concertgoer accused of peeing on family during Baltimore show. Feel Something on My Leg by Danette Wilford. The next story is Olivia Chow wants ban on surveillance pricing by online grocery retailers by Gordon Anderson. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow is bringing forth a motion to prevent grocery stores from adjusting prices while customers shop online. Quote, by analyzing our personal data, retailers can charge more for milk from a busy mother of 3 whose kids go through multiple cartons a week, Chow said at a news conference on Tuesday. Termed, quote, surveillance pricing, grocery stores use AI-inspired algorithms to determine the maximum price online shoppers are willing to pay for an item. It is gaining momentum. Quote, the algorithm analyzes data and determines the optimal price for products or services to maximize profits. A June 2025 discussion paper from the Competition Bureau of Canada says. It does that by either directly setting the prices or suggesting them to a human decision maker. It often performs this task in real time. In other words, prices can be adjusted quickly once the algorithm has the latest data available. It is gaining momentum across sectors and industries worldwide, with reports of its use in sectors from hospitality to concert tickets to ride-sharing. The motion was seconded by Ward 9 Davenport Councillor Alejandra Bravo. The algorithms analyze a whole host of factors to determine what a possible price could be for an item. Quote, the data may be from or about consumers, such as demographic information, online behavior, and transaction history, the Competition Bureau said. It may also be about market conditions, such as supply and demand conditions, competitor prices, and inventory levels. An algorithm may use internal or external information. Chow must ban this surveillance pricing. Chow emphasized that one of the problems with the practice is that customers might not even know they're being targeted for higher prices. Quote, we need to absolutely identify all possible mechanisms to ban this surveillance pricing. The price depends on who is shopping, when the person is shopping, and that's price gouging, Chow said. Chow and Bravo will bring the motion before the city's executive committee on Tuesday. Uber rolled out this model in Ontario a couple of years ago, consumer groups said, noting this type of pricing may lead to higher prices for passengers. Quote, the rise of algorithmic pricing has revolutionized the way businesses operate, the study said. By leveraging data and advanced algorithms, companies may set prices dynamically and personalize offers to meet individual consumer needs. While this innovation brings some benefits, it also poses challenges for competition. As we navigate this evolving landscape, it is important to balance the advantages of algorithmic pricing with the need to ensure the benefits of a competitive marketplace for Canadians. There is a picture of Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow, and she's seated at a table where her name is on a black marker. It says Olivia Chow and then Mayor underneath. And she's got a glass of water in front of her and a microphone. And she's wearing a blue suit, and her hands are kind of like in the prayer position under her chin. And she has a very stern look on her face. She looks like she means business. Photo courtesy of Toronto Sun. That story was Olivia Chow wants ban on surveillance pricing by online grocery retailers by Gordon Anderson. The next story is Suspected Niagara Falls Killer Had a Few Evil Tasks to Do by Brad Hunter. Josta Grace McNeil had a to-do list. Not that long. Bite-sized, in fact. The 30-year-old self-described digital creator told her Wrapped Facebook followers on April 21 that she was, quote, Trying to be a better person, but I still got a few evil tasks to do. Indeed. Killed Falls tattooist? Did one of those evil tasks include murdering Niagara Falls tattoo artist Mitchell Snodden, 35? Maybe. McNeil and her boyfriend du jour, Maroof Bengi, 23, are on the run and aren't saying much. According to cops, around 8:50 p.m. on July 16, officers were called to a home on Thorold Stone Road, near Dorchester Road, in the Falls, for reports of a shooting. At the scene was mortally wounded Snodden, who succumbed to his injuries later in the hospital. Detectives have called the shooting targeted and say since the gun used in the murder has not been recovered, McNeil and her boy toy should be considered armed and dangerous. Sources say that the motive may have been a beef over money, about $4,000, but it wasn't clear who owed whom. On Sunday, cops identified McNeil and Bengi as the alleged killers and began urging them to turn themselves in to face charges of second-degree murder. Police have recovered the black 2021 Mazda CX-5 they believed was used in the slaying. Fled the country? The pair are now in the wind, perhaps traveling north. Bengi is likely the better bet to get out of the country and may have already split Dodge. But if you're looking for insight into this tragedy, social media is a fairly warts and all peek behind the curtain at the lives, loves, and hatreds of people who do terrible things. McNeil offers up a slew of bon mots. In fact, a day after Snodden was so cruelly cut down, here's our heroine posting to her 559 Facebook friends about Ontario garden cafes. Brilliant. One pal suggested the mother of a 4-year-old boy had been kidnapped, but when you don't lock down social media, alternative narratives can, and often do, emerge. One naysayer wrote, "Where are you hiding at, you disgusting monster? Utterly disgusting that you're posting such beautiful garden videos and venues after just murdering someone. You're an absolute monster, Josta. I truly hope this poor family gets all the justice they deserve." That's all the time we have for this story, which was Suspected Niagara Falls Killer Had a Few Evil Tasks to Do, by Brad Hunter. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the July 24th issue of the Toronto Sun. Your reader has been Melanie Gorelnik. Thank you for listening.